All right, so good morning. I actually found a pretty cool theme to teach on today as I was reading the Parsha for the week. So we're in, hold on. So basically, this is the Parsha where Joseph actually reveals himself to his brothers and the whole reunion between Joseph and his brothers, and then gets, sending for Jacob to bring Jacob and the rest of the family down to Egypt. It's Parshat Vayigash. And what I wanted to teach you is the difference between Joseph and Jacob in the Parsha in relation to their general perspective on life. So Joseph, when he reconciles with the brothers, here's what he says. He says, do not be distressed nor reproach yourselves for having sold me here, for it was to be a provider that God sent me ahead of you. For this has been 2 years of hunger in the land, and there are 5 years yet in which there'll be no plowing or harvest. Thus God sent me ahead of you to ensure your survival in the land and to sustain you for a momentous deliverance. And now it was not you who sent me here, but God. So Joseph has a perspective that all of the ups and downs and roller coaster and seeming tragedies and seeming successes that have come to him in his life, it was not at the hands of the people involved in those incidents. There was some bigger, broader perspective that God had a hand in all of it, right? Which is a very, very spiritual perspective about his life. By contrast, you get Jacob. So Jacob, who has had multiple points of contact with God, promising him things and having, agreements and contracts with him. Even in this Parsha, when Joseph sends back for Jacob, Jacob has a dream at night and God comes to him and calls out to him twice, Yaakov, Yaakov, and he answers, or it might be Yisrael, Yisrael, I have to check the Hebrew. I don't know which name God uses there actually, but Jacob replies, Hineni, which is like, yes, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm listening to you, God. And God says, don't be afraid to go down to Egypt. It's going to go well. You're going to be a great nation. You're going to be returned to the land, all of that stuff. And then what is the next thing we hear from Jacob when he meets Pharaoh? Pharaoh's like, it's so good to meet you. Tell me about your life. How are you? And what does Jacob say? Jacob says, so Pharaoh asks him, how many are the days of the years of your life? Jacob answered Pharaoh, the days of the years of my sojourns have been 130 years. Few and bad have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not reached the lifespans of my forefathers in the days of their sojourns. And it's like a bitterness and a disappointment, right? He's like an old bitter man. Oh, my life has been long and difficult, and it's been bad. And even though it's been long, it hasn't been as long as my father's life. It's a very anyway, it's a very different perspective. So here's what I wanted to teach yogic wise in the practice today. That in yoga, there's a teaching in Patanjali Sutras, which is the basis of the philosophy behind the yoga practice. And it's Ishvara Pranidhana Va'a. And what it literally, the teaching means is that it's only through faith and surrender to God, to the divine, that you achieve samadhi. And samadhi is the state of total awake awareness, union with life, with flow, with God. So it's through surrender, not through discontentment. Shocker. So the question is, how do we practice in our mind, in our heart, in our body, surrendering and being with and allowing whatever is showing up in our life to have this sense of this is like what it is. I'm having faith here. It's hard, right? We have to kind of practice faith. It doesn't necessarily come so easily, but like that, we have to practice that perspective. But the idea is really that we can shift our mindset. We can't shift and control all of the external circumstances in our lives. We can control some things in our lives. We could do our best but we don't control all the circumstances in our life. What we do have ultimate control of is how we discipline our minds and what we make our circumstances mean and how we respond to them. So if we're more like Joseph, we respond to our circumstances with more faith, with more of a sense of this is important, this is bigger than me on some level. If we are more like Jacob, we respond to it with a lot of like, why me, victim mentality, this isn't fair, this is terrible, I didn't get what I deserved. So we're going to practice that in the yoga practice. Okay, what do you need in your body so we can do some of those poses today? I was thinking a little bit of hips. I feel like we could always use hips, but I'm also open to anything else. What do you guys, anything you want? Yeah.
I could always use shoulders.
Okay, they sort of go together. Hips and
So
shoulders kind of go together.
As the great Shakira said, the hips don't lie.
Yeah, maybe we'll dance a little bit, shake those hips. Okay, let's begin on your back, actually. Come lie on your back. And I know usually we start other ways, but let's just, it'll feel nice to start. Okay, so on your back, actually, before we even do any other poses, just start in Shavasana. Start in Shavasana, let yourself lie here and just kind of take an accounting of where your body is this morning. If you're really tweaky in the low back, you might want to bend your knees. That'll protect the low back from too much of a stretch, or you can roll up a blanket and put that under the knees. Just take a moment to breathe here and notice the breath literally rising on the inhale, like you get kind of puff up away from the ground as your belly rises with the breath. Notice your body kind of settling back down into the ground on the exhale. Just notice if the breath is rising and falling in its own way, or whether you're attempting to control something there. If you're attempting to make it anything other than it is, see if we could just let go of that urge and just instead become the observer, just be in the flow of the breath. In these first moments of really mindful breathing, it's a really good time to say your moda'ani, gratitude for being awake and alive, gratitude for your breath. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Eternal, infinite one, this breath that you restore into my body is pure. My soul is pure. You can bend your right knee and just hug the right knee into the chest. And just take whatever movements feel good to you, right? Just noticing your range of motion. If you let that knee drop open to its own side, you'll feel an inner thigh stretch. If you try to drop that knee slightly over the midline to the other side, you'll feel an outer hip stretch. And circle, whatever feels good for you this morning, right? This practice of flowing with versus resisting. Good, and then you can extend that leg towards the sky. You may not be able to fully straighten the leg yet this morning. It's early. We haven't done any down dogs, but you're just beginning to stretch the hamstring here. And you can point and flex the ankle. You can circle the ankle one direction and the other. Can you be grateful for all of the creaks and cracks and tightness instead of this kind of bitterness or this I don't know what's another good word for Jacob's attitude. It's like this kind of like it's not enough. It should have been more. Right? Can this just be enough wherever you're at right here? Good. And let's just start with a little reclining pigeon. You know, we usually save our pigeons for the end of the practice. They always feel so good. So let's just start it at the beginning here. So again, whatever movement you want to take with it, right? Rolling around gives you a nice massage in the sacrum. Or you may want to just stay flat on the back, but draw the knee in a little closer. You're just starting to open up gently. Good. And then you can hug both knees in. This is basically child's pose, but on your back. So just close your eyes. Child's pose has the energy of going inward into your own experience. You might, in this moment, ask yourself, where in my life might letting go of some feeling of disappointment or discontentment, where might that really bring more peacefulness to me? Right? Where might I practice surrender? Maybe about wanting to control our children's decisions around certain things, or our partner, or our colleagues, right? Can we just let certain things go and just bring a little bit more alignment? All right, we're going to switch sides. So where did we begin? Extend that right leg and just hug the left knee in. And again, playing with your range of motion, just seeing where you're at. Notice the resistance when you start clenching your jaw or you start holding the breath. That's a surefire sign that you're resisting something, either in your body or in your mind in the moment. So whenever you notice that, you can first of all, like, exhale deeply, remind yourself to then inhale a new full breath, but then maybe you go into a place of inquiry. What am I resisting? What am I being tense against in this moment? You're going to lift that left leg to the sky. Start to feel the stretch in the hamstring and the calf muscle. And you can point and flex through that heel. And circling through the ankle. And we'll come into the reclining figure 4 stretch on this side. So the left ankle crosses on top of the right knee, well, thigh below the knee, clasping the hands underneath that right thigh and drawing the right knee closer into the chest. And you may notice this side is tighter than the other side. Maybe it's easier than the other side. Practice here is not attaching to wanting it to be some other way than it is. Maybe close your eyes for a moment and say Hineni to this asana, to this pose. Hineni. I'm here, I'm awake, I'm mindful. What needs to be revealed to me? And then release that knee one last time, hug the knees into the chest. And if you want here, you could take a happy baby. So the feet reach towards the ceiling and you're either taking the pinky toe side or maybe doing this like little toe lock where you're holding the big toes. The knees drop down towards the armpits, right? And you can even, happy baby, la 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 la. Notice any resistance here. Then you use your breath as the closest thing at hand that you have accessible to you in every moment. Use the breath as a way to bring you from that sense of being, discontented to a place of releasing that from your body. All right, from here, you can rock up and back a few times if that feels good and safe in your spine. Nice little massage for the spine. And then at some point, you come all the way up and we'll come up to stand. All right. So just find your Tadasana. So your feet are about hip distance apart, toes are spread, legs are actively engaged, right? You might close your eyes here, just lean forward a little bit, lean back a bit. Actually, that's good for this practice. Try that whole leaning back and see where you get to that edge where you're afraid of falling and having faith in yourself, like, not just yourself, but like, it's okay. Like we're playing the edge, that edge of having faith. Good. And then just settle that movement into a sense of stillness. Find your mountain pose, Tadasana. This feeling of being very rooted, very solid and strong, but also serene and peaceful. Can you relax your shoulders here? Right? Notice that the tendency for those shoulders to really grip upwards towards the ears. What would surrender look like, feel like in your body to drop those shoulders with more ease? Right. We're going to flow a little bit. So bring your hands to your heart. Bring a smile onto your face. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sky. As you exhale, you're floating down over the legs. Knees can be bent here for sure. Just take a moment to shake yourself out side to side in a little bit of a ragdoll here. Good. Bend the knees again. Inhale, float the arms up to the sky. And exhale, hands down to the heart. Moving on. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, diving down. Inhale, halfway up, you're coming to that flat back where your belly draws in, your elbows, shoulder blades draw in. You're feeling nice and lengthened here in the spine. And then exhale, fold back over the legs. Inhale, rising all the way up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Moving on from there. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, floating over. Inhale to that flat back. Keep the length of the spine. Keep that strength. Bend the knees further. Fingertips come to the floor. And you're going to step that right foot all the way back behind you. And you're going to float your arms up to the sky for a lunge. Good. Good. Let's do a little shoulders here. We had a request for shoulders. Take your arms out to the sides. Drop the shoulders out from the ears if you can. You're just going to spin the palms forward and back. Just notice what that does, the connective tissue into the shoulders, into the neck. You might feel where there's tension there. Okay, we're becoming aware. So it's not being resentful that there's tension. It's just an awareness that this is what is happening. And how do I be with it? What do I need to do to, what can I do that's in my control? Hands reach behind you. Interlace those hands behind your back and reach. Yeah, really nice to see you guys on the screen. Yeah, so you're drawing those shoulders back and down. The chest lift. Belly strong here. Yeah, you're still in a lunge. Did you notice that? I'm like distracting you from the fact that your legs are getting very strong here. Good. All right, we're gonna bow forward. You may rest that front torso and shoulder to the thigh. It may not reach there, that's okay, but you're leaning forward and you're reaching the arms up wherever they go. Yours might not look like mine, but you're stretching through the shoulders, relax the head. See if instead of holding tension with your head lifting forward, that's you trying to control and resist. See if you can just let your gaze gently look past your back inner ankle. See if that releases something else for you. Good. From here, just let the arms come down to the ground. That right hand is under the right shoulder and you're reaching your left arm up to the sky for a twist. You can backstroke that arm a few times if that feels good in your shoulder joint. Good. And then you'll bring that hand down to the ground. Step back to a plank pose. From your plank, you're going to lower to your knees. And then slowly, like a reverse push-up, slowly, 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 lower the belly all the way down to the ground. Good. Once you're there, bend that right knee and just reach back for the right ankle. And just notice, again, noticing the tightness in the quad. And then still breathing peacefully and calmly into that quad, as opposed to gripping against it, right? When we grip and tense up, our mind gets angry, our mind gets agitated, right? So like when we can remember to breathe with instead of grip against, the mind can get calm. Good. Release that ankle. Choices here, depending on your strength. You can tuck the toes, get the hands set up under the elbows. The goal would be to do a deadlift push-up. If that is not available for you, keep the knees down, come up to the knees, and then lift the knees up into your plank. And from here, you're coming back into a downward facing dog. Make sure your hands are spread and strong. You're really clasping down into the fingers. Yep, and you're drawing your weight away from the hands. So your shoulders are pulling back, 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 back. And you drop the head. Let the crown of the head bob like it's reaching towards the ground. If I were to keep you in a down dog for another minute, for 2 minutes, could you stay here peacefully? How many years was Joseph in prison? It's, sometimes we just have to get through a span of time. how do we get through what is difficult with a sense of as much grace as possible instead of making it worse for ourselves? And that's all about that mindset. Can I breathe calmly? Can I not become agitated? All right, from here, come up on your tiptoes, bend the knees, take a look forward between your hands and either walk, or give a little spring forward with your feet. Good. Inhale halfway up to that flat back, and then exhale, fold yourself back down again over the legs. Bend the knees and slowly rise all the way up to stand. All right, let's do that flow sequence on the other side. So starting in your Tadasana, inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, floating down. Inhale, flat back. Good. Bend the knees even more. You're like in a very deep squat here, hips behind you, fingertips to the floor. And you're going to step that left leg back. Yeah. You're going to come up to your lunge. And you're going to hang out. Let's do a different shoulder opener here. So you're going to spin your palms behind you again. You're going to take them behind your back, and you're either going to hold opposite elbows, or if it's available, you're going to reach for a reverse namaste with your hands are reaching into a prayer behind your back. Yeah, and using that to kind of open up the front of the chest, right? Shoulders down, chest open. But make sure the belly is still engaged and lifting in and up. Yeah, legs are strong here, lots of stability. Good. If this arm hold is very challenging for you and doesn't seem like you're going to be able to fold forward in this, switch the arms now to the other arm. Yeah, to the holding the opposite hands, because we're again going into that devotional sort of lunge warrior where you fold yourself over and down. Again, notice the fear of falling, the fear of losing your stability, and how you look up and grip your head thinking your eyes are gonna, and your eyes do have a role, right? Seeing where you are, keeping you balanced for sure. But let's see if you can just surrender the chin to the chest, let that head hang down, look backwards, and still find your stability there. Good, reach the hands to the floor. That left hand comes down, right hand goes up, and you're gonna take the twist. See if you can drop down into that back hip, right? Really come into the lunge, bend the front knee deeper. Yeah. Good. And then that hand comes down to the floor. Again, we're coming into that plank pose. You have choices in your plank. You can lower your knees and slowly lower it down, or you could take the push up all the way down. Slow, 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 slow. Yeah. All the way to the belly. Nice. And this time we're going to bend the left leg and hold that heel in towards your bottom and stretching the quad muscles. All right, we're going to do a little bit of push-ups here because we need to get strong. So you can do these from your knees, but notice I'm not up here with my hips up here, right? My hips are really in a straight line out from the knees. My hands are aligned under my shoulders, okay? You can then cross the ankles here and feel your belly zipping up like a zipper from the pelvic floor up to the, above the belly solar plexus. And from there, we're gonna try to take these tricep push-ups. So we're working our triceps, chaturanga push-ups. So instead of the elbows reaching out to the side, you're hugging those elbows towards the side waist. Okay, and you're just gonna come down as low as you can and up again. You do not have to go all the way down. You can just go an inch or two and pulse. But we're just waking up the tricep strength, belly strength. Again, notice the tendency of your neck and head to want to strain. And see if you can refocus the effort into the belly and the arms. Woohoo! All right, take child's pose for a moment. Catch your breath. That should have elevated your heart rate a little bit. Notice whatever thoughts arose for you out of those push-ups. They may be really positive. Oh, wow, that was great. My body feels strong. My heart's pumping. I'm alive. I'm stronger than I thought. It may be negative stories you're telling yourself. Oh, why am I so weak? I need to do these more. I never stick with my exercise program. Just notice your tendency to go negative or go positive. Right? Is the glass half empty or half full? All right, downward facing dog. Okay, a little bit of hip opening here. Take your right leg way up to the sky. You're gonna feel a big stretch on the inner thigh of the standing leg. Keep reaching that left heel down to the ground. Point the right toes up to the sky. Then you're gonna bend that right knee and let the right heel drop behind you. A little bit of a twist or stretch. You can look underneath the right arm. Looking up towards the ceiling. Good. Bring that leg back up to the sky. Look forward between your hands. You're going to drop that right hip now level to the left hip. Stay there for a second, actually. Just like imagine someone's got a hold of your ankle and they're pulling your ankle backwards. And as they do that, your hips are pulling back, back, back. You're going to really feel that in the outer left hip crease. Good. Then you're going to look forward between your hands. You're going to pull that right knee all the way into your chin. Hover. So puff up your upper back. Push down through your arms. Pull that knee in as close as you can. Smile. Smiling is free. That's the perspective change. This isn't hard. This is fun. All right. Step your foot to the front of the mat. You might need to help it get there. Your back foot comes down. You're coming up for a warrior two stance. So front knee is deeply bent. Yep, back leg is straight. Arms are out to either side. Okay, we're gonna dance our warrior. All right, so what that looks like is you're gonna come forward. You can either rest the arm to the thigh or the hand can come towards the floor inside the leg. It can come to the floor outside the leg, and this arm is reaching overhead depending on the health of your neck and shoulders, right? Do what's appropriate and feels right. Then you're going to come back through the center and you're going to dance it backward the other way. Now, the way you combine this with the breath is you can inhale through the center, exhale forward, inhaling up through the center, exhale back. So just dance for yourself through this. And the pace is yours. There's no rush. Good. The next time you come forward, you can stay there. And this upper arm choices, you can either extend it long by the ear and kind of hang out there. The other option is if you turn the arm up to the sky, palm facing forward, then switch the palm behind you like flip the palm so it's sort of from here, you're turning the palm behind you, and then bend the elbow and reach the back of your hand against that right back thigh. And then you're rolling into this twist with the sideways. You're twisting the sideways. This is a lot of oblique energy here, but you'll also feel this is a nice big opener in the chest and in the neck. Good. And then from here, just play with where your head is looking. So look down at your front toes, see what that does to stretch the neck muscles. And then maybe look straight out at the screen. And then maybe turn your head to look up towards the ceiling. Just notice the range and what feels right for you. Good. Is your front thigh dying? This is hard. All right. And then you're going to straighten the front leg and you're coming into a triangle. So you can either keep the half binds that you might have here in your back. You're straightening the front leg. That would put you into a bound triangle. You can also, the hand can come to the top of the shin. Again, it can come to a block, inside or outside. Or you can take that arm straight up to the sky again. Yep, so right here, zip a line of energy up the inner legs, like magnetize them towards each other, belly strong. Again, there's that twisting and leaning back, chest is open and broad. Shoulder blades are coming together a little bit on the back body. So strong. Good, good. All right. I fell over before I even went into the balance. All right, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna bend your front knee, hand to your hip, look forward of your front foot, reach your fingertips to the floor about 8 inches to a foot past the outer pinky toe of that front foot. You're gonna step all your weight into your front leg, lift your back leg behind you. We're coming into whatever attempt you can at your half moon pose. This is very faithful, this pose. So easy to fall. How can I just be with the lack of control? That's really like, we try to control the pose and get it right and make it perfect so we don't, but what if it wasn't at all about control in this pose? What if the whole intent of this pose is to surrender to all those wobbles? All right, fun. Remember, this is fun. Bend the leg that's in the sky. Reach your ankle towards your heel. We did this lying on the ground. Maybe reach for that foot. You're in that quad stretch. Sometimes this is called candy cane pose. Yeah. And then come out of it however you want to come out of it. Shake it out. All right, our Shakira moment. The hips don't lie. Just take some like little hippie stuff for yourself here for a moment. Whee! All right, we're going to repeat the whole thing on the second side. So we'll just come into it by coming into down dog however you want. You can come through a sun salutation to get there. You can just fold forward. We're doing our down dog. And take 3 full deep breaths in your down dog. Each exhale is a surrender, a letting go. You'll take the left leg up to the sky, down dog split. You can come up on the right tiptoes to start. Your body might naturally go there anyway in that split, but then press that right heel back again towards the ground. What's your breath doing here? Are you still calm? Good, bend that upper knee, the ankle, heel drops behind you. Look under the left armpit. And then you're going to extend that left leg straight behind you, flex the foot, reach back with the foot and the hips at the same time. So you're getting your shoulders farther away from your wrists. Drop the head, relax the neck. All right, you're going to come forward, bend that knee, puff yourself up. We're in a hovering, 3-legged kind of like plank pose here. Knee comes in and up. Strong arms, strong belly, strong will. strong faith. And then step that foot forward, turn the back foot down. We're in the dancing warrior series on the second side. So you know what to do, right? So you're just moving between these different directions. And it's really like going back to like high school math and trigonometry and learning waves. You know, there's like the crest, and then there's the trough, and there's the back and forward flow, right? The breath is a flow, the ocean is a flow. The good times, the bad times, the efforting and the surrender. Like how much can we allow ourselves to be in that flow without resisting, without needing to get stuck? And I'll just say that Hanukkah, today's the very last day of Hanukkah. Last night was the last night, right? It's the 8th day, and 8 represents infinity. 8 represents a new octave, a new level of consciousness, a new beginning. 7 is the weak. 7 is the lower realms of the Eitz Chaim. So here we are beginning something new. So we don't know what 2022 is going to bring. A lot of it is not going to be within our control. How able are we to surrender to be with whatever it does bring? All right, you're going to stop in this forward extended side angle. And your choice here, either arm long, or you're taking the back of that hand, pressing it against the back, and then rolling that upper shoulder open. Belly is lifting in as you twist. Yeah. And then play with where your head is in that pose, just to relax and release the neck. Try not to lose the bend in the front knee, right? The tendency is to want to come out of the depth of the pose. Let yourself go deep. We're just going to be here a few more seconds, right? Good. Then from here, we straighten the front leg. You can either keep that bind or release the bind. Hands can come to the front of the shin or to the floor or to the block. And again, you're wrapping yourself open. Can you relax your jaw in this pose? I don't know if this is true, but I remember reading at one point that it takes a lot more muscular control and tension to grimace than it does to smile. Like smiling is the state of ease and grace, and discontentment and annoyance and on your face is a lot more work. So even just softening your face can soften your mood, your attitude. All right, here we go. Act of faith here. You can step the back foot in a little closer to start. Your fingertips come to the floor in front of you. You're stepping all your weight onto that front leg, lifting the back leg. Some playfulness with your half moon pose. And notice your own mind's tendency to be like curmudgeon-y. Is that a word? You know, grumpy here. I'm going to grumble about this. But then just to see if you can let it go and say, it's all right. It's all part of the plan. Robin's plan this morning, God's plan, whatever. It's part of a plan. Wah! Yeah, taking that candy cane pose if you want to, if it's something you can try out. So you're grabbing the back ankle and taking the quad stretch in the pose. Good. And from there, release it out. Bring both feet to the floor wider than your hips. And let yourself really bend the knees and just hang. And you can just kind of shake, you know, kind of shift yourself side to side here. You can hold opposite elbows here. If you want a deeper hamstring stretch, you can then straighten through the legs, bring the hands to the floor. Can you really let the breath fully flow through your back body here? Inflate you on the inhale and surrender more deeply on the exhale. All right, bend the knees, roll yourself up. How are we doing with time? Let's go into hips and shoulders. So are you guys good with doing like a, like full pigeon where we can also take the twists and the shoulder openers in that? Yeah, let's do some pigeons. Okay, so if you have a pillow, a bolster, a blanket nearby, you might want that. That might help you in the poses. So you're gonna start by coming into a down dog to start. We might as well. I'll show you what that will look like properly. Okay, so from your down dog, you're gonna lift your right leg up high. Oh, a little extra bonus in case you just want to, because I just thought of it and it would be fun. Before we go into our pigeon. From your down dog, bend the knee, open up the hip again, twist or stretch. You're gonna, the standing foot behind you, that left foot, turn it on an angle so the whole foot comes down to the floor, that outer blade. Drop the right foot behind you, behind you, behind you, behind you. Touch down to the floor if you can. Yeah. So you're in, sometimes called flipping the dog, sometimes called rock star pose. Just opening up and then flip yourself back over. All right, knee comes all the way in. You're in that hovering plank again, but this time the knee is reaching towards the outer elbow. That's a little bit of an oblique workout in your outer abs. Hold that knee, then turn the foot in front of the left hip and let the knee come down to the ground. And you're gonna walk that left heel, left toes back. And here you are, you're coming into your pigeon. So if you have a bolster, you may want to bring the bolster under the chest. That just brings the floor up to you and it makes it more restorative. It's less intense in the hips in that way, but it's more surrendering, right? So see what you need. If you need to go for deep, deep glute stretch, you can keep your regular pigeon, but if you just want to surrender and feel like I can really rest and be safe and calm here, go with the bolster. Another option is if your hips, like one hip is really tight and up off the ground, you just roll up the blanket and you're bringing the blanket under both hips. So you're lying it under, basically under your tush here and under the front of the hip flexor. That just lifts the hips up slightly and you can still go in deep with the belly and the torso to the ground. So just stay here and breathe for a little bit. Yeah, the exhale especially is about releasing, letting go. Let go of tension, let go of negative thoughts that really don't serve you. They create discontent. Right? What thoughts are you telling yourself over and over about yourself, about someone else, about the state of the world that just keeps you in a state of disappointment? And how might you let those thoughts go or replace them? Better yet, replace that thought with a thought that has more positivity, more faith. Okay, here's where we add the shoulder opener and the twist. You can place your right hand to the floor, take your left arm out to the left side, and then you're gonna slide it and thread it underneath that right arm, bringing the shoulder down to the floor. That might be a very deep twist and stretch for you. So you might want a block or a pillow to rest your head on. Okay, so that, can you guys see what I'm doing there? So once you come in there, there's a big twist. You're going to feel that for sure, especially out of that back glute. You're going to feel that. It's also twisting from your opposite hip to the opposite shoulder. If you want to deepen that, you take the right hand to the left wrist and you start with a bent elbow. You begin to straighten that right elbow. Oh my gosh. I know you guys are feeling this if you're doing this. You start straightening that right elbow, drawing that right shoulder back, back, back over the left shoulder. That's really going to intensify. Okay, so now with the intensity, the breath becomes really important, right? How do I be with and not resist? How do I trust in this moment? And I soften my face and I soften my jaw. All right, slowly unwind that. The last piece of this puzzle. Place your left elbow and forearm to the ground. Bend your left leg behind you, or if you're on a different side, whatever side you're on. The back leg that's straight, you're going to bend it. You're going to reach across the body. Opposite arm to heel. So maybe you get the inner heel, maybe you get the outer heel. Yeah, maybe you come up higher here. Pressing the hand to the floor, whatever works for you. So you're adding in that quad stretch, the twist, definitely a shoulder opener here. You can let your head relax. Where does your head want to be? All right. Good job, y'all. From here, tuck the back toes. You're lifting yourself back to down dog. Shift your hips out. All right, second side. So you're coming forward with that knee. Oh, wait, we didn't do the flipping the dog. So first, left leg up to the sky, bend the knee. You're turning onto the outer blade of the right foot. You're feeling that big twister stretch. You could just stay here if you want. That's a big twister stretch. Or with a little act of faith, you let that left foot drop behind you. And you reach your hips up to the sky. And you smile. And then spot the floor. Get your hand back towards the floor. It may or may not be so graceful, bringing yourself back over. And then from there, you come forward into that hovering plank with the knee reaching towards the outer elbow. Left knee to left elbow, belly draws in, nice and strong. Lift the belly up away from the floor. You got this, you got this, you got this. All right, then cross the ankle in front of the right hip and stretch your leg back. And you're coming into the easiest version of your pigeon. And just let yourself breathe and relax there. Once you're in the alignment of the pose, always check in with your breath, right? You then breathe the pose. All right, that twist is next. So you take the right arm out to the side, come up on the left hand, slide that right arm all the way over to the left so that the shoulder is coming towards the floor. That may not be available to you either, right? So you can bring the shoulder, well, this is too thick, but to a blanket or to some kind of soft pillow. Or you bring the shoulder across, maybe it doesn't want to touch, but once you put your head down on a block, that just gives more space, right? And then the final variation on this pose, if you want, is to lift yourself up, bend that back knee, and you're reaching around with the opposite hand. If that's totally not available, you can also reach out with the same side hand, right? A little bit different. It's not the twist, it's not the chest opener in the same way, but it's a quad opener for sure. All right, you can swing your legs around. We're gonna go into our Shavasana. We're really already at time. Sorry I ran you guys late, but just take a minute on your back to just settle and let everything from that practice integrate. You may want to take a moment to reflect back on whatever you identified earlier about a place in your life where surrendering a little bit of control or surrendering that mindset that something's wrong there. Where might you make a shift around that? And bring your attention to your breath for the next 3 to 5 breaths. And taking a moment to offer a Mishabera, a prayer for healing for yourself, for anyone in your life now who you're aware of needs some extra healing, and for the world. As you're ready, you'll transition your way back up to sit. Se shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'emru. Amen. May we all be blessed with peace. Namaste, you guys. Thanks for joining this morning.
Namaste. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Have a good day, everybody.